took my wife out today to go do some fishing, Sunday fun day. Yesterday Chad and I went out, and unfortunately we got run off by the rain, and we came back out, but unfortunately I left the camera equipment at the house or at the office, so I didn't get a chance to go out and get some filming. But we're out here today. Just brought in this really nice mangrove snapper. What we're having to do is we're having to anchor today. Unfortunately, we've run into another issue with the trolling motor. I've got to go take it in next week to get it fixed. I don't think it's a motherboard or something like that. I think there's a loose connection somewhere. So we're gonna have to do that, but I'm gonna explain to you. He almost slapped me in the face. I'm gonna explain to you what we do and how we set up with an anchor. You can still get precise. It takes a little bit of education to go out and what you want to do is you want to look at how your boat is going to drift. Once you find that heading, you can easily get set up on the spot. I was able to do the same thing. I let the boat go ahead and float, found my heading, went up through the anchor, came back and set right up on the spot. But right now the tide is ripping, so the bite's been off a little bit. I'm waiting for it to slow down. We're right now we're in a major feeding time, but it's not really good. But as soon as this tide slows down, which is going to be in about 30 minutes, I think we're going to be able to chum these fish up and get them going. But I'm going to go into and get a little bit more thorough about how to set up with an anchor if you don't have a spot lock trolling motor. Okay folks, what I want to talk about on this portion of how to anchor and get a true heading, what we did is, you see here, you see some lines where the boat has gone. What I did is I went above those two waypoints, and what I did is I let the boat drift to give me a true heading of what direction the boat was going to go. That allowed me to realize that I was in a 240 degree position. So what I did is I took the boat, as you'll see, I took the boat in a 240 degree position. I set the anchor, came back, and was able to get the boat set between the two waypoints and the three waypoints below. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because it put me in the middle of the structure that we were fishing. So it allowed me to be able to, if I wanted to pull up the anchor a little bit, I had enough anchor rode out that if I needed to pull up the anchor a little bit, I could. If I wanted to let some more out to hit the back portion of those waypoints, it will allow me to do that also. And plus, with the tide starting to slow down, the wind was in the same direction, so it allowed me to stay in the same spot. And as you'll see, my wife and I put a hurting on the fish. We had multiple doubles in the major feeding time, had a great day on the water with her. But what I did, again, is I put the boat above those waypoints and I let the boat drift. And once I find out the way the boat is drifting, then I make sure I get my correct heading and I move the boat into that heading above the waypoint, anchor the boat, and come back. So you always want to allow enough rode to be out so the anchor holds, because yesterday it got pretty rough, and if I hadn't let enough rode out, it would have popped the anchor loose. So always remember to use enough rode, and also to remember to get your bearings where you know to get your drift location where you need to anchor up the boat. Okay, I know that my heading is 240 on my compass because of where I set up before. So I know my heading's good. I'm going to get it set up. I'm going to get it set up on these waypoints right here. I'm going to go past it, have enough line for scope, maintain my 240 position, and throw the anchor and get set up. It's a pretty broad area, so you can see that I don't have to get it on exactly. Now what I wanted to do was get set up between these waypoints here, and you can see where my track was. I set it up perfectly. 245 position. You can see the structure down below. Now we're gonna go and catch fish, huh?
Yep. Better. Go.
Doubled up.
Get this one in the boat.
That tide's finally starting to slow down, and the fishing action is heating up. I got a gag. You got a red, I got a gag.
I'm gonna go on the live well.
Not a huge one, but
So where do you pick them up? Under the gills?
yeah, matter of fact, somebody asked me that. Somebody asked us where, I mean this one I'll pick up from the belly because he's small enough. But as I get another fish, what I'll do is I'll demonstrate of how we hold them. But the small ones like this, you can hold them just like this. Pop off the little nice red grouper. There you go. Yep. That will double up. There's a decent gag.
Yeah.
So I hold them just underneath the gill, just like that. Because they have a sharp gill plate. So you want to be careful of that.
I got another red.
See?
Mouth is so orange in there. Do they eat shrimp?
Yeah.
It's a baby. It's a fish.
How pretty those green eyes.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm so spoiled. He takes the bait off, the fish off, puts the bait on, ties. Yep. Hi, roll.
And she does all the cooking, so it evens out.
Yes, it does.
Right now I'm using pinfish on our regular jig, hooking them right through the bottom, up through the top. Oh, another fish.
I got my bait sold.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if you haven't been hit again,
Yeah.
probably still your bait. A lot of people honestly ask me, do you really use 8-pound braid and 20-pound leader? And the answer is yes. I use 8-pound braid, Chad uses 10-pound braid. We use our Tampa Bay Fishing Channel's fluorocarbon leader, the 20-pound, and that's what we use all the time. You can catch good fish with that light tackle. It's fun. It makes it more interesting. Ah! You can see how fast that's happening. But it makes it more fun, more interesting, especially this time of year when we can't keep grouper. It just allows us to try some different things, but we've been using that type of gear for years now, and it's worked out really well. Are you waiting on a bait?
Yep. I'm patient.
As I mentioned, we're right in the middle of actually we're getting closer to the end of we're in the middle of the major feeding time. That tide has finally started to slow down, and as soon as your bait gets to the bottom, it's fish on, just like she's got.
Yep. So small.
See if I can double up really quick.
Snapper.
Oh!
Baby snapper.
You know how many people would kill to catch a snapper this size?
Oh. Well.
I mean, it's a baby for us. Not a bad little snapper. Something we wouldn't keep, but not bad. Now, one thing that's been happening recently is we typically hook these fish on the top of the head like this, like that. But yesterday they wanted them hooked through the bottom, up through the top, and it made a difference. People, you wouldn't think it would make that much difference, but I was hooking him through the top of the head, through the bottom, and Chad was doing him through the bottom, through the top. and I wasn't getting hits and he was. As soon as I turned mine around, I got bit. So always be out there trying different things. I preach that and preach that and preach that. If you can, try different things. If you got a couple people on the boat, don't all use the same thing unless you're catching fish on that same thing.
Whoa, car.
Car. Got him, baby.
Yeah, I got a two-handed now. Didn't get a stingray this time either, I don't think. I love it when I see the leader. I know I'm almost done.
That's a nice red grouper, babe.
It is.
That's a better one, right there.
Yeah. Pretty. Does he keep her?
No, he has to be 20.
Short?
He's close, but
I don't want to keep him. I just want to know.
grunting.
Working.
Yep. Immediately hit the bottom.
Yep. Good one. Playing.
You can always tell if it's a red or a gag. The gags kind of helicopter up and stop fighting. The reds will fight all the way to the top.
Yes, they do.
This is a gag. Not a bad one at that.
Not at all.
Where's your fish, babe? Come on, we were supposed to double up.
You were too quick.
Yeah. Now Marion and I dropped down at the same time. Let's see how fast we can get hooked up. Come on, eat it.
That was a race.
Maybe they've been hitting as soon as it gets. Oh, there he is. It took a little bit longer, but not much.
Well, I had one who didn't know it. And I just
You got
shot it.
almost another double. That would have been about 5 in a row.
I'm gonna bait from here and go back. What is it, a gag again?
Yep.
Got some five foot?
A little bit, yeah. He started off really strong. Not a bad fish. Barely caught him. What I was talking about on that gill plate, right in there, it's like razor sharp, kind of like a snook. So you want to make sure that you watch where you put your hands. Like the other fish got me.
Trying to see who you are.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I thought it was going to be a lot. Well, it's not bad.
They stole my bait.
I just wanted to show you guys that you don't necessarily have to have a spot lock to be able to fish and catch fish on the edges of the channel. And so if there was a ship that was to come by, oh, she's already on. What I can do is I can swing my boat out this way and get it out of the way, and my anchor will still be in place. So I always pick spots that are convenient to do that when I'm having to anchor. Now, we're catching a lot of cookie cutter fish, but you want to be patient when you're going through that process, because what happens is you'll catch a lot of these little fish, and then those big fish will come in behind them and start eating. So you want to be patient and weed through the small ones to get some of the big ones. As I say that, we're getting a little better.
Are they? Have you caught that fish 4 times?
I don't see any holes in his lips, so. About the same cookie cutter. Oop, that was a hell of a hit, man. Yep. Yeah.
Not bad. I'll take that.
Got that pinner in his throat. Yes, sir. Now we're going to use our anchor ball retrieval system to be able to retrieve the anchor ball in a very easy fashion. I know we've talked about this before, but this is the cool thing about this anchor ball. It slides right down the rope. You're good, man. You're good. Boom, it just popped the anchor. And now I go and retrieve it. And that's how easy it is to retrieve the anchor with the anchor retrieval ball. If you're interested in one of these, you're buying a Lead Fishing Sports. It saves a lot of time and effort. Pretty cool.